had this topic because I felt it will make some sense for us. Often there's an AI conference and we're discussing all the AI advances. Sometimes it's useful to just step back and look a little bit at ourselves and what's happening around us. And so this is a little more of a, this is not your standard AI type session. This is a lot more introspective. It's a lot to do about us, you, me. So I just want to give you that heads up and a little bit of a warning, because this is not going to be your standard AI spiel. Let's see. So the speech is first about you and then about AI. Because unless we bring about changes in ourselves in terms of the way we are and the way we think, AI is just a tool. I've been in the industry for 40 years. Several tools have come. This is a slightly more exciting tool, but it's just that. It's finally human beings who have to take advantage of such situations. So what I try to tell is, if you cannot master yourself, you will find it very difficult to master AI. So the starting point is always you. So if you want to succeed with AI, you have to first be a very successful professional yourself. I always use time as a great leveler. Each one of us gets the same minute, the same hour, the same day, the same month. So it's a question of what we do with it. And finally, as most of us know, mind is a monkey. It's well recognized. And so in today's world where you have an extraordinary number of tools that are capable of distracting us, it can be very difficult to get to a level of introspective contemplation and self-discovery and advancing yourself. All these are absolute prerequisites if you want to master AI. Surprisingly, it all has to do with us. And as far as I'm concerned, I use it in my institute as well. The entire forward-looking statement is everything is an opportunity cost. When there's a gentle knock on the door, it's up to us to recognize what is going on. The opportunity will come often disguised in various ways. So it comes down to us. So first I'll talk about us, which is you, me. So the first thing we need to do is we need to extend our knowledge on everything, on anything, and then create abstractions. What do abstractions mean? Abstraction allows you to see instances, look for similarities, come out with cogent observations, and allow you, when you see a new instance of the same thing, to think about it relatively quickly. We call it creative worry. Davenport had written it long ago. Creative worry is the concept of not when you're necessarily working, but when you're in a bus or traveling. You can worry about lots of things which are creative in nature. You can, for instance, if you're walking around in Bangalore, you may see a person who's plying their trade with an iron and pressing a set of clothes. You can worry about what this business model will be. You can worry about what is the amount of business that the person needs to make in order to make a profit. You can come out in about half an hour, you can conceptualize it in your mind, validate it, understand it, and then when you go and meet that person, you can ask him, "Kitna 10-15,000 banta hai mahina mein?" That's called creative worry. It's exercising the brain. Brain is a muscle, so you have to exercise it. Most important, which we struggle with, you learn when you teach. A lot of, even now, you're in passive mode, I'm in active mode. The more you get into the active mode, if I was to tell one of my employees that tomorrow morning you have to take a class on AI, today he will learn AI or she will learn AI. If I tell them you have to attend a class on AI, nobody cares. So change it. Most important, eliminate rhetoric. Today, if there's one thing that we can do in the world of AI, it is to eliminate hype and rhetoric. It's a technology, nothing more. It provides you an opportunity. I'll give you a simple example. I give all of us Microsoft Word. It's a technology. Only one of us will be an author. The existence of a tool does not lend you the capability of art, craft, mastering that you bring. That's the distinction that you have to master with AI. You're not competing with AI. It's your slave. It'll do whatever you want it to do. You are the boss. In order to be a boss, you need to be competent. Beware of conditioning. A lot of people will keep pushing you with ideas. You have to be independent. Move out of your comfort zone. So if you're an AI scientist, try meeting people. If you're a person who meets a lot of people, try learning a little bit of AI. If you're a person who does user design research, try learning program. If you're a person who does a lot of domain-centric matters, learn about measurement, learn about engineering. Try to master and open your mind out to the space that governs the entire AI world. Most important, watch out for one level removed from work. This is very often instances where the real work takes place along two dimensions. And I'll come to it on the next slide. Maybe I'll take it straight away. The second bullet first will come. The only two jobs, at least in my reckoning, that people do which are of extraordinary value in any organization is either they create or they sell. Think about it. If you're making a car, you have to design it and create it, or you're going to sell it. Is there any other extraordinarily value-oriented work that we do in life that is comparable to create or sell? I don't think so. The rest of it falls in the interstitial spaces. It has to be done. करना है, accounting करना है, लोगों को manage करना है, ये करना है. Core work क्या है? You have to sit and create, which means design. You have to sell, which means convince people. Get to that. One level removed in the previous slide is instances where you're describing the aspect of creating, where you are summarizing information that other people are doing. You feel good about it. The danger is it's very seductive. It makes you feel good about yourself. We're all competitive beings. Finally, organizations are pyramids. Only few people get to the top. So you need to somehow gather the attention of the people around you. So you start getting into those dialogues. Chota dialogues. It makes you feel very good. It doesn't add value to you. Be very careful of that. Distinguish between reading and knowing. In today's world where information is so much, our reading is completely 1 micron deep. We just read something, a version of a software, somebody has done something, some information is, there's no cogency in it. We just read it, it goes away. We read it, it goes away. It's just like a flood. It comes, gone, comes, gone, comes, gone. Knowing is different. Knowing is still water. Knowing is depth. Knowing is silence. Knowing is contemplation. Expertise is not superficial. That's what I've just said. The fun part of expertise is it's about 4 to 6 orders of magnitude in your life. It will make a difference. I've fortunately created $4 billion companies on the stock market. Just out of, that's an, what do you call it? It's an occupational hazard of mine. I'm a technical man. By mistake, I did that work. I'm actually still a programmer. Do not go past one word that you do not understand. Very dangerous. In today's world, we do it all the time. We like to spew out vocabulary we do not know. Because it's cool to do that. Be very careful about that. In the US context, they play American football, and in that there's a specific player who's one of the greatest of all times called Jerry Rice. He's a wide receiver. He's better than everybody else in the world. And the people, when they asked him how he was good, he said, deliberate practice. That means practice every day. And these are difficult things to do. It's not fun. Nobody applauds. There's a lot of sweat and toil. There's a lot of failure in it. There's a lot of self-discovery in it. But if you want to be the best, it's the choice. So you will accelerate with time. I'll tell you what the 40 years and 11 minutes is. I did a case study. I'll see if I have the time, I'll present it. So I did a simple case study for 11 minutes before this session. And the case study was an AI model to find out. I've not built the model, but I've done all the thinking around it. I've mined 8 documents, out of which the 8th document is the timestamp of how much time it took me. It took me 11 minutes to mine information about the problem. And the problem was whether a street dog will bite me or not. It's a wonderful AI problem. It has huge implications. It would be wonderful to give it to a citizen to say, take a photograph of a dog and I'll give you a score whether this dog will bite you or not. How do you think about this problem? It only took me 11 minutes. It didn't only take me 11 minutes. It took me 40 years of my experience in 11 minutes. Remember, your experience will reflect in your work. Time is the same for all of us. How you utilize it is going to make the difference in your life. With that said about you, I'll come to the last part, which is a very natural thinking. Everybody is worried about how intelligent you are. It is not so important how intelligent you are, surprisingly. There are all forms of intelligence, musical, naturalist, 9 forms are there in the world. We're all smart in different ways. That's what all of us say. Yeah, different people are smart. Sometimes we'll reflect on our strengths and weaknesses, and we sometimes have a holistic appreciation of somebody else. Some folks will tell you it's going to rain right now, and it will. They have what is called the understanding of nature very well. There are people who will tell you that, look, I had a friend of mine in college. He was not a very good student, but when we did engineering drawing, we had a plan and elevation, and he just glanced at it for literally 2 seconds. And then he went to his room. He was known to be a student who would never study. Then he came back about 10 minutes later and gave an artist's impression of a 3-dimensional image of what he saw. He's absolutely not good in academics from IIT Bombay. He wouldn't study, but absolutely brilliant in 3-dimensional visualization. So you've got various forms of intelligence. The part that's important is if you understand these forms of intelligence and can develop an ability to try and extend yourself further, you will be a master in uncovering AI applications. And why and how is what we'll come to. You have to do something called divergent and convergent thinking when you work with AI. Divergence occurs when you make connections. So there's a problem P, you make connections with everything around it. And you need to do this divergent thinking up front. You do not want to immediately jump to a specific problem and its specific solution. If you do that, you will tend to fail. But if you only diverge, then what happens is you will come out with a theoretical, abstract, meaningless utterance of the problem. So you've got to combine it with convergent thinking. And convergent thinking is when you are very pragmatic. I need to deliver a product in 3 months. I need to be able to define it in a certain manner. So you come out with that. Very good people understand problem finding and problem solving. And this is very important with AI. You should be able to, before you solve the problem, you need to find the real problem. Today's tools will allow you to do that. Third concept, cognitive flexibility and ambiguity tolerance. You need to be willing to think of the problem in different ways. And the most important thing, particularly for AI scientists and engineers, you have to feel comfortable with ambiguity. Uncertainty is a given in life. And your ability to box that animal will determine your success. Doing it very quickly comes with simplistic assumptions. Doing it in a grand sense is boiling the ocean. Problems are somewhere in the middle. So there's 2 types of view that I have seen with AI. I've seen 2 types of people. One, they think before they use AI. 2, they have knowledge of the subject before they use AI. 3, they prioritize problem solving. They use AI only as a tool, not for them to think. The other type is, they encourage intellectual laziness. They don't want to do it, they'll just use a prompt and find something out. It'll amplify confusion because they're not very clear about their own underlying concepts. So more information with a person who does not know something very well just confuses them. Lot of time is wasted. Lot of conversations, lot of dialogues, lot of meetings. Just as an aside, I'm one of the few people who does not have any meetings on my calendar. Typically, in my week of 40 to 50 hours, I have about 1 or 2 hours of meetings. If I need something, I'll call somebody and ask them. End of story. I come from a culture that was pre-internet, pre-meeting, pre-email. When I started my career, there was no email. Today, if you remove email, I think people will get confused as to what they're supposed to do in a day. They don't know. They've come into work. अरे mail नहीं मिला यार किसी से क्या करना है आज? When we were working, we would walk in. We knew I'm working on a program. I have to develop it. I have to test it. I have to analyze it. I have to speak to a customer. I have to implement it. A person working on the assembly floor of a manufacturing company does not need a mail to know what they need to do next. It is certain service sectors that we have learned to use props. Very useful, but don't overuse it. We fall trap, if you're on the right-hand side, to what I call the Pareto principle. And this is a standard thing. So 80% of your problem, area of research, gets solved in 20% of time. So you go very quickly, you get very excited, and then the 20% that is remaining will take 80% of your time. And often a lot more. We have seen so many instances of people taking code, and it'll come in a certain manner. But because they don't know coding or they don't know how to do changes, then somebody will say, I need a small change. And they'll be circling round and round and round with the same tools because they don't know how to think about how to ask the prompt or what are the changes. It maybe need only 2 lines of change. But since they don't know it, they fall trapped to the Pareto principle. My concept for you with respect to how to think about AI, how to use AI, how to allow it to help you is formulate precisely. Be very specific or as specific as you can on problem solving. Make sure you evaluate responses critically. This is all very well known. Iterate and refine. Use it to accelerate. And most important, engage actively. Use normal techniques. Don't over-digitalize yourself. Most of us, I think, have forgotten how to sign. I find it very difficult to sign anymore on pen and paper because my hand doesn't move properly because I've stopped using my hands to write. So please write on pen and paper, subject it to pen and paper because you can think with a much better sense of clarity. There is a certain reason human beings have been given a reversible thumb and all this nice stuff. It has a direct impact on our cognitive ability and our ability to learn. So kindly use it. So I created a mental model for all of us to use AI. A mental model is an abstraction. It's a simple abstraction. Whenever you see AI problems, you will find it, and let's assume I'm a startup, I want to do something, I want to create a product. You'll find 2 fairly simple concepts that underlie it. One is called materiality. That means how much of money you'll make, how much of impact you'll make, how useful is it. And the second is ambiguity. How certain is it? How uncertain is it? So if we look at any problem, you will find the 4 quadrants. And the first lowest quadrant is actually a work trap, which means it has very low materiality and it's very, very clear what to do. A lot of people will spend a lot of time. It's a good old example. If you have done any large-scale software and you've worked with organizations, people will spend an enormous amount of time building a user authentication system. They will forget that there is a business functionality that takes much longer to build. Or they'll be constantly writing library management systems. These are Mickey Mouse systems. You shouldn't spend too much time on it. That happens on the lower quadrants. On the high ambiguity, when there is a very great uncertainty, but the materiality is low, that means not very useful. A lot of researchers fall into the trap. It's fun to do. It's interesting to do. I like to do it. But it has no meaning. You've got to be careful of that. Now, you can make a conscious choice and do it, but at least build the abstraction. If it's high materiality and low ambiguity, there are standard patterns available in AI. I need to analyze an image, I need to do this, I need to do that. Now you need to think of the domain problem. And then the last part is the materiality also is high and the ambiguity is also high. There you need to spend some serious experimentation using AI and then build a certain ecosystem that can work with you in order to design, develop, understand and use the solution they're going to build. So what do we do? And at our institute, we've got about 25 odd solutions. So all of these solutions come with the same thinking. So I'll just quickly run over a few of them. Cough against TB, it's a very difficult problem. So the idea is that you listen to a cough sound and try and find out if a person has TB or not. So it's a very complex problem. We were able to solve it in a facility setting. We are still working on it with respect to community settings. I'll go down the line to some others which are quite interesting. Media disease surveillance is interesting because it looks at the entire internet, mines several hundreds of thousands of pages and takes out information associated with any disease, the number of people affected, the date, and the location. And this is provided to a central agency that then determines if it's an outbreak or not. And since this runs every 2 to 4 hours, immediate action can be taken. This is a pan-India solution. The way we are working right now, our solutions typically are now touching about 10 crore people. So it's a pretty big footprint we have. Newborn anthropometry, again, an interesting solution, where we take a 5-second video of a baby and assess its weight. So oral reading fluency, which has been released to Gujarat, is for the entire state of Gujarat, students from grades 2 to 6 to understand whether they're able to speak the language properly or not. A lot of the Kisani Mitra, Krishi Sati, all of them have been released pan-India. They all are used by multiple millions of people, millions of farmers. So that's the story. Make sure that you have clarity about who you are, build yourself, and use AI as a tool. Surprisingly, I try to stay away from excess information. I prefer sitting alone and thinking. And I can almost 10 times out of 10, I'll beat everybody else simply because I'm sitting alone and thinking. Because the other thing is just noise. It's too much. There's no receipt. I'm not that intelligent. I don't have the mental capacity to take the volumes of information. I would rather say I need a rose and take it and go. Rather than, 17,000 flowers and then I'm all confused. What am I supposed to do with this? So I would encourage you to invest in yourself, leverage yourself, and use AI. This is the way you're going to survive in AI. You're going to survive in AI by paying it less attention, not being caught by it. Make sure you understand who is the master and who is the slave. If you get confused with that, you will be trapped. I can assure you. That's all I had to say, I think. Pretty much I'm done. Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks.